How's it going, my peeps? This is the results / review video of the Money in the Bank pay-per-view, where I give you guys the results as well as give you my review, my thoughts on the show. So let's start this off. The show started off with the pre-show, obviously. A tag team match between Kofi Kingston, R-Truth, teaming up to face Hunico and Camacho. But before that match, we had a backstage segment between Zack Ryder and Santino, where Zack Ryder was wishing Santino good luck in the Money in the Bank ladder match, and then Damien Sandow comes up to them, starts, putting them down, and saying that he's gonna win the World Heavyweight Championship Money in the Bank ladder match. After that segment is over, it is time for the tag team match. Non-title, by the way, Kofi Kingston and R-Truth, versus Hunico and Camacho. Okay tag team match, decent tag team match, nothing special, nothing out of the ordinary. They've had some better tag team matches, so it was just an okay match. That's really all I gotta say. Apart, of course, that the winners were Kofi and R-Truth, which was pretty much expected, seeing as how this is a pre-show match, and it's also against guys that aren't the #1 contenders to your titles. So yeah. And after the pre-show, we have a segment, well actually, in the pre-show, we have a segment with Daniel Bryan. He gets interviewed. He basically talks about how AJ still loves him and that he's going to come out victorious out of his match tonight and win the WWE Championship. Now fast forward to the actual show. We kick it off with the Money in the Bank World Heavyweight Championship ladder match. Anything really revolving around the World Heavyweight Championship lately has been, kicking off the show. Now this wasn't the world title match actually kicking off the show, but it was the world title Money in the Bank match, sorry. As far as the match goes and how it was, I'd say, a good Money in the Bank ladder match. Definitely not one of the best, but it wasn't bad either. But there was a bunch of botches in there, most of them from, you guessed it, Sin Cara. At some point he went for the C4 on the top turnbuckle, which used to be his finisher, and he just completely screwed that up. He tried to do it on Dolph Ziggler. I'm not exactly sure whose fault was it. Well, actually, I'm pretty sure it was Sin Cara's fault. I mean, he's the one who's been botching a lot since, debuting, while Dolph Ziggler really rarely botches. So I'd say it was, Sin Cara at fault. It just looked horrible. He screwed that up, basically. And there was another botch with Sin Cara, which I don't recall right now. I don't remember it. But there was another one. And there was also a botch with Tensai, where he tried to powerbomb. I think he tried to powerbomb Ziggler, maybe. I'm not too sure, but he tried to powerbomb somebody. And you know how at WrestleMania 24, when Batista tried to powerbomb Umaga? Yeah, it kind of looked like that, where, he backed, the weight was too much for him or something like that, and he just, backed away onto a ladder. So that was another botch. But the match was okay. Christian pulled off a spear from the ladder, kind of like Edge did, although less awesome because there wasn't somebody hanging off the Money in the Bank briefcase. And the winner of the match, Dolph Ziggler. I got it right. I told you guys, Cody was too much of a predictable choice. It was too predictable that Cody would win. And when it comes to the SmackDown Money in the Bank ladder matches, what I've learned is that if it's too predictable, then most likely it's not going to happen. And everything really was pointing to Cody Rhodes winning that, Money in the Bank ladder match, which was why I went with the second, I guess, most predictable choice, which was Dolph Ziggler, and I was right. The outcomes really were Cody was about to, climb up that ladder and grab the briefcase, but Vicky distracted him. She started climbing up the ladder. While distracted, Dolph Ziggler hit him with the zigzag. And a short while after, I think Christian climbed up or something like that, and then Dolph Ziggler took him out or something and grabbed the briefcase, which I'm pretty happy about. Good for Ziggler. He's been a world champion in the past, but it was for only a couple minutes and it was handed to him. He didn't actually win a match to get that championship. So it's definitely going to be interesting to see who's he going to beat for that championship and for how long he's going to hold it and all that good stuff. So After that match, you had a backstage segment with Sheamus where Matt Striker was interviewing him, and he talks about Del Rio and how Del Rio, buys all these fancy cars, blah, 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 and that Sheamus, he only, he drives a car that just, gets him to wherever he wants to go, doesn't need to be a fancy car. I just wasn't really interested into this promo, just like I wasn't really interested into this match, just because I don't like Del Rio. I'm not a fan of Del Rio, and I'm also not that big of a fan of Sheamus. He's okay, but not the biggest fan. Would prefer to have somebody else as the World Heavyweight Champion. But if I had to choose between Sheamus and Del Rio, I would much prefer Sheamus than Del Rio, Destiny Del Rio, whatever. So, after that, you actually have the return of The Miz. The Miz comes out with a new haircut and a little bit of facial hair. Not too much, but a little bit. And, he talks about the Money in the Bank, and he says that he's been filming for a movie, and that he came here tonight, at the Money in the Bank pay-per-view because of the Money in the Bank ladder match for the WWE Championship, and that he's now added to that matchup, so The Miz is now into that WWE Championship Money in the Bank ladder match. So, we'll see how he fares as this review goes on. And then you have the World Heavyweight Championship match. Del Rio comes out first, followed by Sheamus. Now the match, I said, was decent, but it's just hard to get into, a match like this if you don't necessarily like, or you aren't a fan of either guys in the matchup. Which, like I said, I'm not really a fan of either guy, especially Del Rio. So, it was hard to get into this, and I was, pretty certain that Sheamus was going to retain here. I doubt that, Del Rio would have won, and I was right. Once again, Sheamus wins. So that's another correct prediction. So, so far, so good. Sheamus wins the match with the white noise followed by the brogue kick. Now, here's the thing I don't like about the ending of Sheamus's matches. Usually when you have two top guys, two main eventers facing off against each other, the whole, hitting your signature move followed by a finisher successfully, most of the time doesn't happen. What happens most of the time is you have this one main eventer hit his signature move, which is his setup for his finisher, and then he goes for his actual finisher, but the other guy counters, something happens, and then he finally hits his finisher. In this case, for the past, 2-3 matches, pay-per-view matches, not talking about TV matches, but it could also include TV matches, Sheamus has been winning his matches just by hitting his signature move, followed by his finisher, which is pretty, I don't like the sequence. I'd like to see a reversal here and there. Maybe Del Rio reverses the brogue kick or something like that, but he successfully hit the white noise, and right after hit the brogue kick once Del Rio got up. And then after the match was over, Del Rio started attacking Sheamus, and then I realized, I was like, oh, wait a minute. He's attacking him, so that means Dolph Ziggler's probably gonna come out now. Or they're just teasing us, I don't know. And the fans actually start to chant for Ziggler, and actually they were chanting Ziggler in the Money in the Bank ladder match too. Well, actually, they were chanting for Dolph, I think. They were saying Dolph, not Ziggler. Pretty sure. Anyways, they start chanting for him. Del Rio keeps attacking Sheamus. Once he's done, I think, Dolph comes out. He comes out with the briefcase. And, looks like he's going to cash it in. Del Rio looks a little bit upset, so he pushes Dolph Ziggler. And then Dolph Ziggler pushes back and I think hits him with the briefcase. So Del Rio just, gets out of the ring. And then, he gives the referee the briefcase and tells him he wants to cash it in. But because of the whole distraction with Del Rio and the time wasted, once he turns around, Sheamus hits the brogue kick on Dolph Ziggler, and he's knocked out. So he cannot cash in the Money in the Bank briefcase, although he's still Mr. Money in the Bank because the referee did not ring the bell. So all is good. It's kind of like what Jack Swagger did, where he tried to cash it in, the Raw after WrestleMania on Randy, I think. but he got RKO'd or something like that. It just, he failed basically, but he still has the briefcase. So, hopefully, I hope, he's gonna actually cash it in successfully and win the title. And then after that, you actually had Abraham Washington come out. Well, actually, Kofi Kingston and R-Truth came out first, went to the announcer's table. They were now dressed up with suits, and, they're on the announcer's table, and then AEW comes out, Abraham Washington, and he introduces the primetime players. He actually does a good job of introducing them. And, they come out, and then Primo and Epico come out, so I guess we're going to have a Primo and Epico versus the primetime players, Darren Young and Titus O'Neil. And decent tag team match. Now, I was expecting, Titus O'Neil and Darren Young to win, as, they're the number one contenders, and also Epico and Primo did get a victory on SmackDown, so I was thinking that Titus O'Neil and Darren Young were going to get their revenge, this Sunday, well, tonight, against them and get the victory over them. But Primo and Epico actually win with a roll-up. And, Abraham Washington, guys, which is actually pretty damn funny. He has this microphone on him, and he was pretty damn funny during the whole match. Bashing Epico and Primo, and also insulting Rosa, saying she can't dance, and telling her to shut up. So the guy's pretty funny. And after the match, after they lose, Abraham's, AEW's like, doesn't matter, we'll slow the number one contenders. They go and confront Kofi and R-Truth, and AEW starts, running his mouth, and then R-Truth gets sick of it and, throws some water with his water bottle onto AEW's face. And then AEW gets pissed, but Titus O'Neil and Darren Young hold them back, and that's pretty much it for that segment. And then after a backstage interview with AJ, where she talks about both Daniel Bryan and CM Punk, we go over to the actual match. She comes out first, Daniel Bryan afterwards, and CM Punk. And you know what? This match was freaking great. Another great match from Daniel Bryan and CM Punk. This one, by the way, they announced at the last moment or the last second that it was going to be a no disqualification match. Well, at the beginning of the show they did it, which I wasn't aware of. I guess maybe they announced it on WWE.com or WWE Mobile or their text service. I'm not sure, but it changed to a no disqualification match, which actually added to the match. Anyways, great match. At some point, AJ got taken out of the match. I think Daniel Bryan pushed CM Punk. She was on the apron because she had, she was trying to get back into the ring after getting out, where Daniel Bryan and CM Punk were fighting initially. During the match. And then, they came back in and she tried to go back in, but Daniel Bryan shoved CM Punk towards the ropes, so he knocked over AJ. And then, I guess AJ was hurt. CM Punk goes to check on AJ, and then Daniel Bryan takes out CM Punk on the steps, sorry. And then he goes over to check on AJ, says, "Are you okay?" And then the medical staff comes, and Daniel Bryan tells them to check on AJ, bring her backstage, check on her to see if she's okay. Obviously, he doesn't want her as a special guest referee, just in case she tries to screw him over. And then we get another referee to replace him, and it wasn't Charles Robinson, so we didn't have a running referee towards the ring. And towards the end, she eventually came back, and she actually introduced a chair in the ring, put it in the middle of the ring, while Daniel Bryan was on one side and CM Punk was on the other corner, and just, let them fight for the chair. They both tried to grab the chair. Daniel Bryan eventually took it from CM Punk and started just hitting him so many times in the back. CM Punk did the same. They also hit each other with a kendo stick, a bunch of times too. And, they use mostly a steel chair and the kendo sticks as weapons. They did fight, in the ring, outside the ring. And at some points, you had Daniel Bryan pinning CM Punk and AJ counting 2. And then, CM Punk kicks out. And then Daniel Bryan gets pissed, tells her, it was a 3 count. But he, stays cool. He doesn't want to anger AJ, I guess, so she doesn't screw him over. Then at some other point, CM Punk pins Daniel Bryan. She also counts 2, and Daniel Bryan kicks out. CM Punk doesn't get angry like Daniel Bryan, but he looks at AJ with a shocked, I guess, look. And some notable spots, some notable cool moments in the match. At some point, you had Daniel Bryan locking on the label lock, the yes lock it's called now, on CM Punk with the Singapore cane instead of his hands. You also had CM Punk going for an elbow drop, but Daniel Bryan was laying down on the steel chair. CM Punk goes for the Macho Man elbow, but Daniel Bryan moves out the way, so CM Punk's elbow eats the steel chair. Oh yeah, and at some point, you had CM Punk hitting the go to sleep, but Daniel Bryan kicked out of that because CM Punk took too much time to cover him. And then the end comes where CM Punk sets up a table in the ring, then sets up Daniel Bryan in the top turnbuckle, and hits a back suplex from the top turnbuckle on to the table, crashing through the table, and then pinning Daniel Bryan for the 1, 2, 3. So AJ screws over nobody. She called it down the middle. And that's it for that match. Then CM Punk just celebrates. Great match. As far as determining whether this match or their Over the Limit match was better, I guess I'd have to check out both matches once again. Watch the Over the Limit one once again and, make a decision off of that. But, both were great matches, obviously. And then you have a handicap match, Ryback versus Curt Hawkins and Tyler Reks, which I also predicted. I told you guys, predict which opponents you think Ryback's gonna face. I told you guys I personally think that he's gonna face Curt Hawkins and Tyler Reks, and I'm happy to say that I was right. But it was actually a normal handicap match where you had to tag in your partner and not the typical, 2 jobbers in the ring at the same time versus Ryback. Which makes sense. Maybe, on SmackDown, we're going to have Ryback versus Tyler Reks and Curt Hawkins in the ring at the same time. Now, this was slower than your typical Ryback match, lasted a little bit longer, and Ryback actually got hurt in the match. Kayfabe, he actually took some offense. Tyler Reks clotheslined them. Ryback hit a couple shoulder packs on Tyler Reks, hit a powerbomb on Curt Hawkins, threw Curt Hawkins out of the ring, and hit his finisher on Tyler Reks for the victory. The crowd was pretty much dead during the match, but there was a lot of Ryback signs, a lot of "Feed Me More" signs in the crowd. So it was kind of weird that they were dead, but at the same time they had so many Ryback signs, and although they were dead, there was still some Goldberg chants during that match. And once the match was over and he was, saying "Feed Me More," they were chanting "Feed Me More" with him, which they've been doing for the past month or so. Then you have, some Divas match. Layla Kaitlyn teaming up with Tamina Snuka to face Eve, Beth Phoenix, and Natalya. Beth Phoenix and Natalya haven't teamed up in a while, so I guess Natalya's a heel now. I don't know. The thing is with Natalya and Beth Phoenix, but especially Natalya, you don't know when they're faces or heels. I was wondering for the longest time now, is Natalya face or heel? I was just wondering. So, as far as this match, well, I can't really tell you anything because I went for a piss break and went, to get something to eat, and the match was over. So, can't really say, although I did catch the winner. And the winning team was the team of Kaitlyn, Layla, and Tamina Snuka. And then you have the Raw Money in the Bank ladder match. The WWE Championship Money in the Bank ladder match. John Cena versus Chris Jericho versus Big Show versus Kane, and now The Miz. It's kind of weird that this match main evented, I guess, because John Cena's in it, but it doesn't make any sense. I think it'd be much better if they had the WWE Championship Money in the Bank ladder match before the WWE title match, so then the fans could wonder, hey, is the Money in the Bank winner going to cash in or not? But, if it's the last match, then you obviously know he's not going to cash in this same night. But if he, wins that Money in the Bank briefcase early on in the night, then there's a possibility there. so it can, you know, keep you guessing and wondering if he's gonna cash that in. So the match actually was better than I expected. I expected this match to completely suck and be just terrible, but the match was actually, you know, good, I'd say. I actually liked this match, which was pretty surprising to me, because really just looking at, you know, I mean, they're all top stars, but having guys like Big Show in a ladder match and Kane, well, Kane is okay. I'm a fan of Kane, but just, you know, having just 4 guys, well, now it was 5, but, you know, the SmackDown Money in the Bank ladder match, I keep saying SmackDown and Raw, but whatever. The SmackDown Money in the Bank ladder match just looked so much better on paper. You know, yeah, you had 8 guys, a bunch of high flyers in there, quick, you know, fast, agile guys. Well, this one was more, you know, a bunch of powerhouse guys, apart from Chris Jericho and The Miz. Anyways, good match. Early on in the match, they all take out Big Show. John Cena hits the AA on Big Show on the announcer's table, and then they all just throw a bunch of ladders on top of the Big Show, a huge pile of ladders on Big Show. Cena dominates, well, had a lot of offense in the match. He, you know, he beat up a bunch of guys. He threw Chris Jericho onto a ladder, scoop slammed them onto a ladder, as well as The Miz, and then hit a double 5-knuckle shuffle on both of them. Kane went for a choke slam on John Cena at some point, but I think John Cena countered that into the AA onto the ladder. So John Cena got a lot of offense in this match. And, you know, you had Big Show pulling out that heavy-duty ladder, that huge, thick ladder, instead of the normal one they use, because I guess he's 500 pounds. And he was climbing that up. Then John Cena stopped him, or Kane stopped him. So it was better than expected. Definitely better than expected. It was a good match, I'd say. Good ladder match. But between this and the SmackDown Money in the Bank ladder match, I mean, this one had more star power, so I guess it was a little bit more important, but I enjoyed the SmackDown Money in the Bank ladder match as well, despite, you know, the botches. Dolph Ziggler winning really made it even better. You know, both were good Money in the Bank ladder match. It's hard to screw up a Money in the Bank ladder match. So that's it for the show. Did I say John Cena wins? I don't think I did, right? Wow, I can't believe I forgot that. Anyways, John Cena won the match after both him and Big Show were on the top, and they were fighting for the briefcase. John Cena grabs the briefcase and starts hitting the Big Show with it on the head. And then suddenly the briefcase, I mean, you know, the rope or whatever, it wasn't a rope, it was, you know, kind of like a rope with like this keychain attachment, this big keychain attachment, I don't know what it's called, okay, which was, you know, which the Money in the Bank briefcase was hanging on, that broke. So then, you know, Cena was already holding the Money in the Bank briefcase, so that broke, and he was the one holding the Money in the Bank briefcase, and he wins, and then he hits the Big Show a couple more times in the head because he's still on the ladder until Big Show falls. And John Cena's your winner. So, as far as the show goes and my rating, what I thought about the show, I'd say this show was better than No Way Out, but it definitely wasn't better than last year's Money in the Bank pay-per-view. Definitely not. But it was, you know, a good show. It was a decent show. I'd give it maybe a 6.5, maybe 7 on 10. So that's about it, guys. Tell me what you thought about the show in the comment section below. And if you want to show your support, if you enjoy my videos, you can click that like button. I'd really appreciate it. With that said, guys, I'm out. See ya.